Hi, welcome to I Love the Library, and this is actually in the Detroit Lakes Public Library. I'm Mary Haney, Director of the Library, and today we are going to talk about travel by foot, hiking, travel by car, and some weird destination travel, and some of the more unusual travel books we have here at the library. So let's start with hiking. We've got this wonderful guide to the North Country National Scenic Trail in Minnesota. Yes, that's the national trail that goes right through Becker County, coming down through the refuge, and actually this book starts on the western end of the trail, so it kind of starts with the state parks, and then it goes up through Tamarack and comes out. It ends like in Reamer, I think, or well, it goes to Reamer. Anyway, it's many miles of trails, hundreds of miles of trails. So far, I think the trail is like 6,000 miles long, and this is a wonderful resource. We have several copies of this book if you're interested in having a guidebook to the North Country Scenic Trail and get walking. But of course, before we talk about hiking, you really have to be able to walk. So I pulled this book about walking for women, and that's a good start. And then here's a hiking book for kids. This is a J, and it's a nice little teaser to get your kids interested in hiking. And then here's a guide to hiking and backpacking. And then we go to Minnesota, and then we have some more hiking trails in the west, Olympic Peninsula. We have a lot of guidebooks and things for national parks in the United States. This is just one example of them, Guide to National Parks. And then if you want to get off your feet and on your butt, you can take a road trip. My sister just completed about a 2,500 mile road trip. That's what we do in Minnesota, right? We all travel places. This is a fun little road trip guide just for Minnesota. Well, it goes from Minnesota down through Iowa. But it starts in Minnesota because it's the Great River Road, which is the Mississippi River. And this is a guidebook for Minnesota Historic House Museum. So if you're going to do a local road trip or a road trip within Minnesota, and then let's say you're going to go a little further afield on your road trip. I still love paper maps. This is one of my favorite books. I have had a copy of this personally for many years, many different versions. My dad said to me the other day that he needed his atlas. It wasn't at his apartment, so I have to go out to the farm and get him his 2018 road atlas. And I just love looking at paper maps and trying to figure out where something is, where it is on the planet. But this is an indispensable guide because, frankly, GPS and Google Maps can be wrong, and often are, as I know to my peril. So you can get this at the library. You can check it out. Then we're going to move on to a little bit more esoteric kind of road trip or travel book. I just love this one. Hot Springs and Hot Pools of the Northwest. I know people who actually travel to hot springs. That's kind of their destination of choice. When they're traveling, they look for places that have hot springs so they can stop in, and their goal is to get into as many hot springs in North America as possible. So we have that. It's kind of an unusual guidebook. Another unusual guidebook, Living the Airstream Life, if you want to go on in an Airstream travel. I'm just showing you these as examples. We have so many different things that are pretty unusual guidebooks. I love this one, Lodging in Italy. You're going to stay in a monastery in Italy. You can often stay in them for as little as $40 a day. This is a wonderful book for that. And of course, we can't leave out Norway. Here's the Norway Bed and Breakfast book, a more unusual guide. This isn't the most up-to-date guidebook that we have in the library, but it'll give you a start. Then I love this one, Novel Destinations. You want to go where your favorite novels were written? This will give you destinations in Great Britain for Jane Austen. It'll give you destinations for Ernest Hemingway and things that were important in his works. All kinds of fun stuff. And then we have some more hiking. Let's finish up with hiking. This book is about the Odyssey, the poem by Homer. A man and his son actually recreated Homer's journey in the Mediterranean. And this one is Walking the Nile. This man wrote this book. He started in Rwanda at the beginning of the Nile and ended up at the Mediterranean Sea where the Nile empties into the ocean. So there you have a few unusual travel guides for travel in the United States, in Minnesota, and around the world. So come on into the library and check them out.